Welcome to POP Podcast. Today is, today's deep dive is going to be pretty heavy. It's
Yeah.
going to be about the recent parole hearing for Yolanda Saldívar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and, this is a story that continues to affect so many people. And we thought it would be important to kind of go over what happened and, really just try to understand.
For sure.
So we've been looking at a bunch of news reports and we're going to share what we found and like what it all means.
Right.
Ready to get into it?
Absolutely. I think this case is, more than just news. It's really a part of history. And
Oh, for sure.
the fact that we're still talking about it, after all this time, just shows how much of an impact it had.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it makes you think about legacy
Yeah.
and how a single event can have such a lasting effect.
Yeah. Okay. So to really get this moment, we need to kind of go back to the beginning.
Okay.
So back in 1995, Yolanda Saldívar was convicted of murdering Selena Quintanilla Perez. It's been 30 years now, which means Saldívar was eligible for parole. And, that brings up a lot of feelings for people, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. And to give you an idea of the timeline, Selena was killed on March 31st, 1995 in Corpus Christi.
Right.
And Saldívar became eligible for parole around March 30th of this year, 2025.
Wow.
So yeah, that 3-decade mark is a big deal in the legal system.
It is. So basically, parole means that someone can be released from prison before they serve their full sentence, right?
Exactly. It's like a conditional release.
Okay, so getting to the reason for this deep dive, the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles has decided not to grant Saldívar parole.
Yes. They put out an official statement about it, and they've also scheduled the next parole review for March 2030.
Okay, so it's not over yet.
Not completely.
And we also saw Selena's family react to this.
Right?
They shared a statement on Instagram that was really powerful. They said, "While nothing can bring Selena back, this decision reaffirms that justice continues to stand for the beautiful life that was taken from us and from millions of fans around the world far too soon."
It's a powerful statement.
It really is. You can really feel everything they're going through.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting how they talk about Selena's legacy,
Yeah.
about the love music and inspiration that she represented.
Right.
This isn't just about the legal stuff,
Totally.
It's about keeping her memory alive and honoring the positive impact that she continues to have on people.
And I think that's what a lot of people connect with.
I agree.
So to understand what happened, can we talk about the relationship between Selena and Saldívar?
Sure.
This wasn't just a random act of violence.
Right? Not at all. Saldívar was really close to Selena professionally.
Right. She was like really involved in her career.
Yeah, she was the president of Selena's fan club,
Wow.
and she managed 2 of her clothing boutiques.
So they worked together a lot.
They did,
Mhm.
which is why it was so shocking and confusing when this happened.
And I remember hearing that there were some financial problems.
Yeah. In early 1995, Selena's family decided to fire Saldívar.
Oh, wow.
There were accusations that she was stealing money from the fan club and the boutiques.
That's awful.
It was a really difficult situation for everyone involved.
So we have this whole background of betrayal and money problems.
Right.
Can you talk about what happened that day at the motel?
So according to the reports, Selena went to meet Saldívar at the Days Inn Motel in Corpus Christi.
Right.
And during the meeting, she was shot in the back.
Oh, my God.
But even though she was badly hurt, she managed to get to the lobby before she collapsed.
It's just awful.
Before she lost consciousness, she told the motel employees that Saldívar had shot her.
Oh, wow.
And in the meantime, Saldívar had locked herself in a truck outside and was threatening to kill herself.
It's a terrifying situation.
It really is.
So what happened after that? I mean, legally,
Well, the police arrested Saldívar and she went to trial.
right?
And in October 1995, she was found guilty of first-degree murder. And the sentence was life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years.
Which is why we're talking about it now.
Exactly.
And during the trial, Saldívar said that the shooting wasn't intentional, right?
Yes. Her lawyers argued that it was an accident.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said that she had bought the gun to kill herself and that it went off by mistake, hitting Selena.
But the jury didn't believe that.
No,
Kinda-
they found her guilty of murder.
It's hard to imagine that it was an accident with everything else that was going on.
It is.
So obviously today is about the parole decision, but we can't ignore Selena's impact on the world.
Of course not.
Even now, her music is so popular and her influence is huge.
She was a true icon.
Yeah.
Her album Dreaming of You, which came out after she died, reached number 22 on the Billboard Hot 100.
That's incredible.
It was a major accomplishment for a Latin artist at that time.
Yeah, and she had 5 #1 hits on the Hot Latin Tracks chart.
She did. And her album Live won a Grammy in 1994.
So talented.
And beyond the awards, her music touched so many people.
Yeah, it really brought people together.
And then, of course, there was the movie Selena with Jennifer Lopez, which introduced her to a whole new generation.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, it really solidified her legacy.
And it's interesting that even after all these years, people are still talking about Saldivar's actions.
Yeah, there was that documentary that came out recently that brought everything back up.
Oh, yeah, Selena and Yolanda, the secrets between them on Oxygen.
That's the one.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was interesting, but it definitely stirred up a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
Saldivar said that she didn't steal any money. And she even made some claims about Selena that didn't really add up.
And people weren't happy about that.
Not at all. A lot of Selena's fans were really upset.
Yeah, I can understand why. So how does the parole process work? I mean, what happens when someone applies for parole?
So first, the inmate has to submit a request.
Okay.
Then the Board of Pardons and Paroles puts together a file with all the information about the case,
Okay.
like court documents, prison records, things like that. Then a panel of board members, usually 3 people, reviews everything.
Right.
And if a majority of them vote in favor of parole, then the inmate can be released.
Okay, so in this case, they put together a file and reviewed it.
They did, but we don't know how each member voted.
That makes sense.
And they explained why they denied parole.
So they didn't just say no?
No, they gave a specific reason.
Okay, so what was the reason?
They said that the crime was too violent and brutal.
Yeah.
They said that it showed a conscious disregard for human life and that Saldivar was still a danger to the public.
So they basically said she's not ready to be released.
That's right.
Wow, this has been a really insightful look into this case.
It has.
And if you're enjoying it too, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, we love bringing you these deep dives into important stories, so your support really means a lot.
Okay, so let's wrap things up.
Sounds good.
What's the most important thing for listeners to take away from this whole thing?
I think the main takeaway is that Yolanda Saldivar's parole was denied, and the board's reasoning shows just how serious her crime was.
Right.
And it reminds us of the huge impact Selena's death had and continues to have on so many people.
Absolutely. And it also shows that Selena's family is still fighting for justice.
Yes, and it really makes you think about how we deal with justice and memory as a society.
Yeah, how do we balance the legal process with the emotional side of things?
Exactly, especially when we're talking about someone like Selena, whose legacy is so important.
It's a tough question.
It is.
So as we end this deep dive, I want you to think about this.
Okay.
What does this parole denial mean for how we remember and respond to tragedies? How do we make sense of loss and honor the legacy of someone like Selena?
It's definitely something to consider.
It is. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into this really important case.
It is my pleasure.
And if you found this conversation helpful, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into captivating stories.
We really appreciate you being here with us today.
See you next time.